Lifestyle creep. It is not a new concept by any means, and most people should have a basic understanding of what it is. As a quick refresher, it is a phenomenon that occurs when people experience a significant increase in income or financial gains, and it refers to the gradual inflation of one's spending and expenses as their income rises. This phenomenon can lead to a higher standard of living, but can also come with some financial implications. So in today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at some of the most common examples of where lifestyle creep can creep into our own lives. Lifestyle creep can manifest itself anywhere, including one of the more prevalent areas being transportation. As our income grows, the temptation to replace a dependable and economical car with a more luxurious model becomes ever more enticing. In some cases, people may even contemplate having multiple cars for different uses, where it's important to acknowledge that these choices will typically result in things like higher insurance premiums, maybe higher fuel costs depending on the type of car that's purchased, and definitely more expensive maintenance and repair routine. And I've actually seen this take place within my own friends' inner circle, which it's quite interesting to see as we start to really develop and flourish into our careers, pay down debt that we have elsewhere on things like our mortgages. It's very, very easy to be persuaded into spending more money on a more expensive vehicle than what we might actually need. Next up, dining out and entertainment when you have extra money to spare. The temptation to treat yourself to a fancy dinner at an upscale restaurant or to engage in an expensive activity. Let's throw one out there. Hiring a jet ski for a day. These are incredibly enticing when it's very easy to justify the expense. I know right now at this period in time of recording this video, times are a bit tough. Interest rates have gone up for people with debt. It's not going to be as easy anymore to justify those expenses. But as we've seen, inflation is still running rampant and people are still spending every single day without looking back. This is one of the best examples I can possibly make on what lifestyle creep looks like, because as I've seen people's income increase as they've negotiated higher salaries because of how markets are moving and what the job market's been like for the last number of years, it's very easy to see where their money is being spent when they're not saving very much of it at all, because it's going towards things like this. The problem with this one in particular is that it can very quickly turn into a costly habit that people become dependent on because they need that fix, that adrenaline rush, or that hit of dopamine for the thing that keeps them sane while working their relatively difficult 9 to 5. Finding the balance between treating yourself and maintaining a sustainable budget is incredibly important. It's something that I talk about on the channel a lot, and it's why I kind of weed it into every single video that I make. It's not even for my viewers, the people who watch these videos. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to do that. I do appreciate it, but I do it for myself as a reminder. Every single week when I'm making these videos, I think about it and I go, am I doing this to the best of my ability or within reason? Or am I just spending outrageously on these lavish and exciting things when I probably shouldn't be? And it's kept me well grounded and served me well for the number of years that I've been practicing it. I would make a good example for this one. I've had to reassess my spending habits on fine dining and luxurious activities, if we give it that label, across my short-lived career. I've only been working full-time as an engineer for roughly 6 years, and in that time I have managed to increase my income significantly, which has definitely made it more tempting and made me a little bit more carefree when I go out to eat and do things that would be considered expensive in everyday life. I've definitely had to put some thought into it. And it's not only from a monetary perspective as well, it's also from the fact that eating out is generally unhealthy, and I don't really like the idea of having negative side effects when it comes to my health when I am really focused on being as healthy as I possibly can be. Which then kind of transitions into the next topic that I wanted to talk on. And this is one that I've managed to avoid for the most part of my life, and that is falling into the traps offered up by the ominous brands and fashion sense that people seem to need to keep up with. This is something that I believe affects the Western world more than others, and in particular is something that has become more commonplace as we've seen with the rise of ads and social media blaring people who wear designer brands and fashion and clothing, brand new clothing, all of the above, every single day and we see it through our screens and go, I want to look like that, because we idolize these people, we emanate these people, and we want to be what they are. As your income increases, having the ability to keep up with the Joneses truly becomes kind of reality to a degree. And I see that people make the decisions, fall into the temptations, and then find themselves doing the exact same thing. They spend money where they might not potentially be able to in that period of time because their money should be going towards something else, yet they always seem to be wearing nice new clothes, they always seem to be wearing designer brands, and they always seem to have piles of clothes that they're throwing out or reselling because they've gone through them. And it's a trap that I have noticed significantly increasing over the years, especially with women. And I feel like it's kind of stereotypical, but it is something, like I said, that I've noticed happening over the past couple of decades. I will caveat that by saying that I do understand that some people may genuinely really gain a lot personally and mentally when it's all about their image and what they get to wear, and they might feel good in what they get to wear and things like that. Just personally, I don't believe that it's worth the money to try and keep up with the latest trends and fashion. Where the continuous release of new gadgets and the advancements made in technology continuously happening every single year could also be extended from the fashion and the keeping up with the Joneses scenario, which is kind of the next one that I wanted to talk on as well. It aligns with the notion of feeling compelled to constantly upgrade our devices, even when they are perfectly functional and we don't really need to. A good example is the computer sitting behind me here. I've had this thing for just about 10 years now, and over the past 10 years, there have been a number of periods of times where I've gone, I'm spending $10,000 on a new computer. I'm ready. I need to build a new one. This one's old. And I've taken a step back and gone, probably shouldn't be spending that money right now. I don't really have the money to spend. And this thing kicks ass. It works perfectly fine. It's still quick and it does everything I could possibly need it to. Why would I waste the money on something I do not need? The pursuit of staying up to date with the latest technology can be an expensive hole to walk into. And it's something, again, that I have seen people fall into the pitfalls of. Very simple example is your phone being upgraded every single year. I don't understand how people do it. I don't understand why people do it. It is a lot of money when you really think about it to go from one phone to another to have essentially the same functionality. Another significant impact worth discussing is the effect of lifestyle creep on travel and holidays. As our income increases, the locations and destinations that we choose to visit, I believe, become more lavish. They become more accessible as well when you have money to spend on these types of things. The interesting thing is now that I am approaching my 30s, yep, that sounds really scary for me to say out loud, but it is what it is. It's quite interesting watching people who decided to go on relatively frequent holidays to some nice destinations when they were younger. We're talking between 18 and say 25, maybe a little bit older than that as well. I'm noticing that they are really struggling to put together the savings and put together the routine to do what they want to do in the next chapter of their life, which is settle down, have kids, and put a roof over their head that they can call their own, as in buy a property, one that they're not trying to rent. It's plaguing our country here in Australia and other locations around the world too. But it's quite interesting watching these individuals really struggle to come to terms with the fact that they had these wild experiences, these amazing opportunities to travel abroad, and now that their income is increasing, it makes sense, hey, I should be able to go on more exciting holidays more frequently. It's now hindering their ability to do other things as well, because they've just got into that habit of, okay, my income has increased this year. That means I can go on another holiday this year and experience the exact same thing over and over and over, a little bit nicer, a little bit better, sure, but it's kind of ranty, but just trying to get it out there that it's been fascinating watching people get to this point in their life now where the lifestyle creep sunk in. The travel and the holidays, as great as they were, are hindering their ability to take that next step in their life. I think as the one-liner to wrap up this section here, people really need to think of the long-term consequences of falling into the traps of something like the travel and holiday lifestyle creep experience. Now, to wrap up today's video, it is crucial to remember the golden rule of thumb when it comes to managing lifestyle creep. Before making any type of purchase, really take a moment to assess if you truly need to spend the money on that item, if if you really need to spend the money on that activity or experience. Consider how the purchase might impact your ability to achieve other goals, both financially and otherwise. And hopefully by practicing this approach to spending, you can maintain a healthy balance between the present and securing your future. Remember, it's not about completely denying ourselves the pleasure of life, but rather about making choices that align with our long-term goals as well as our financial future. And that is pretty much where I want to leave you today. This was a fun video for me to cover because it's something that I really need to reflect on from time to time, especially as I progress through my career, and those numbers definitely do bump up. I'm going to leave you there. So if you enjoyed today's video, if you got something from it, please hit that like and subscribe button down below. You know it helps the channel, and you know that I definitely appreciate the support. And I'll leave you there. So have a good day, have a good week. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.